Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the sick note culture, which exists here in the UK, which the government is trying to repair right now. So basically, the way it works is this. If you feel sick one day, perhaps you feel sad or stressed, then you go to your family doctor and they will give you a sick note, which will excuse you from work. Now, that sick note could be for 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, maybe more, depending on exactly what you tell the doctor. Now, most of these sick notes, or at least some of these sick notes, are genuine. If you break your leg and you can't work, if it's something very clear which stops you from working, then these sick notes, of course, will help you. Your boss will probably pay your salary if it's for 2 weeks or 1 month at least. If they don't, then the government will pay you statutory sick pay. But there is a feeling, and I think it is known, that some people use this system either to get away from their boss, to have some time away from work, or perhaps for another dishonest reason. Now, our governments aren't happy about this and they've decided to try to fix it. It's very difficult, this, because our governments see this as something moral, something about honesty, and how some British people might be bad people because they're using this system to escape working. Now, as I've mentioned before, our government often like to act as our parents. Our government like to play the role of being our mother. And when things go wrong, like the post office scandal or other things in our society, the government's response isn't about really the people, it's more about, oh, which bad person is doing this bad thing. And it often spirals into some kind of moral issue. So, in the news today, charities, that's the people who try to help sick people, they're not happy with our Prime Minister because he says that he's on a moral mission to cure this sick note culture. And we're going to read a little bit about that. So it says here, Rishi Sunak's plan to repair the costs of sick note benefits has been met with a lot of criticism from groups such as charities and people who support those with mental health problems. The Prime Minister said it was his moral mission to fix the welfare system. And he says there's 2.8 million people on long-term sickness, which is costing £69 billion. And he's saying this isn't about cost cutting. He really does care, but some charities have accused him of insulting the 1.9 million people who are on waiting lists to get mental health support. Now, 2.8 million people are on sick leave. 1.9 million of those are waiting to get mental health support. And these charities, these groups, are saying that the Prime Minister's actions will push more disabled people into poverty. And the Prime Minister has responded by saying that there's a lot of young people who need to be back at work. Apparently, since COVID, the number of people who are not working because of long-term sickness has risen. And he says that people of working age with a disability or health condition, the amount of money that they cost the government is more than the entire school budget, which the government pays for schools. And to deal with this, the Prime Minister is saying that they're considering taking away the family doctor's role of giving sick notes, and they'll be given to a special government department, presumably who'll be more strict, and they'll be issuing fit notes to people, telling them that they're now fit to work. And he says benefits fraud will also be treated like tax fraud, and there'll be new powers to make arrests, and people could receive a penalty of some kind. And those who are fit and able to work will have their right to benefits removed, and if they don't accept work, they will be told they're not getting any more benefits. They'll be given a work coach after 12 months of being on sick leave, and if they refuse to accept a job, their benefits will be removed entirely. And Rishi Sunak, our Prime Minister, is saying there's currently 900,000 vacancies in the economy. So you can hear there that this is very much a moral issue about people not working. It's not really about why people aren't working. I mean, there is a mental health crisis here. There are also a number of illnesses which people have. It's very difficult. This mental health is always an issue which is difficult to prove, but he does seem to be insulting people. I mean, he's assuming that many of the people who are supposedly ill are not really genuine. He's trying to get people moving. Well, I mean, on one hand, I agree with him because the area I'm living in is a real black hole. I think a lot of people feel hopeless. They have no self-esteem. It's incredibly difficult for people to find work. It's an unemployment black spot, and so some people just feel sick. There's also a number of people who have been claiming benefits for many years who perhaps could work. But on the other hand, there's a lot of very genuine people who, for many different cultural and social reasons, can't work. So either way, this is going to be a very difficult thing for the government to bring in. And on the other hand, I think the government are likely to lose the next election, so these plans may not go ahead anyway. In some parts of the country here, it's really sad because people, they actually spend all of their time getting benefits and applying for benefits from the government. We even have different departments and offices who advise you on what benefits you can get. So many people look around to see what benefits are available as an alternative to working. And during my recent diagnosis of diabetes, as I've been telling my friends and neighbors that I now have diabetes, a few people have told me, "Oh, that's great. You do know you can get a benefit from the government for this." And I've responded with, "Yeah, but I'm working. I don't need a benefit from the government." "Oh, yeah, but it's there. You should definitely take it," the people respond with. And I say, "Well, yeah, that's great, but I don't need it. If I needed it, then maybe I would take it." And someone even told me, "You're crazy. You don't have to work anymore. You would be better just taking the benefits, and you can spend your time doing the things you love." But the problem with this is I don't know how that affects people's mental health. I mean, I can see people around here who drive disability cars, and if you're given a car by the government, these cars are huge. You don't pay insurance or tax because you're supposedly disabled, and on top of that, you receive benefits and everything else. But I don't know what these people do every day. If I wasn't working, I would be a bit lost. I was always taught that working is good for your soul. It gets you up in the morning, it gets you organized, it gives you a skill. But when I see so many people who aren't working, but having a very lavish lifestyle, it does make me question our benefit system. I work as a teacher. I've worked very hard to make a reputation as a good teacher. But when I see my neighbor doing nothing, and he kind of waves at me as he goes out in the morning, I can I can see that he's got very poor mental health because he's doing nothing. I see him sometimes shopping with his wife and going out. It's kind of sad. I really would like to see him going to work, and it seems that he can do, even if he can't do physical work, he could work online as I do. So it seems strange for me that many people simply don't want to work just because they know that the benefit system is there to catch them. And in environments like the north of the UK, there is really some kind of feeling that they shouldn't be working, that they have a right to government benefits. Within the four nations, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, there's different feelings about this. In really impoverished areas, more and more people are sick or choose not to work. And the central government is passing more of those powers to the four nations to deal with locally, because someone living in Scotland doesn't want to be told by the English or central government that they're fit to work. In fact, if they are told that, they'll just find another reason or excuse not to. But as these departments are passed more and more to the four nations, things I think will be changing anyway. The department that looks after benefits recently has been passed from the central government to the Scottish government, for example, so that the Scottish government now will be responsible for the people who live there and for deciding whether they should receive benefits. And the Scottish government has already indicated that there will be no face-to-face interviews, there will be no harsh questioning of sick people to see if they could work. But then what happens? Does that mean that people will just be left without work with a lot of government benefits? That doesn't sound very sustainable for an economy. So there's all kinds of questions to be asked about our benefit culture and how it works. But I don't like much about American culture, but I do like this idea that you work for the things that you have, and then, of course, you can be proud that you've done a day's work. I don't get this idea of being at home and doing nothing and being happy with that. I think that would seriously affect my mental health if I tried to do that. I mean, even studying might be a good alternative for people who aren't able to work. Well, that's it from me. I hope that's explained a little bit more about our sick note culture here in the UK and how they're going to try to fix it. As usual, this will probably die as a new government comes in towards the end of the year. See you. Bye.